to ensure you won't fail your finals. At Western University, the stairs to the president's office was one of those special places. One crisp October evening, I walked toward the steps to find a large crowd glowing with the school's bright colors. The steps were decorated with Western University insignias, and a microphone waited in the center of the display. To the side stood a line of speakers, all dressed in gear available for purchase in the campus bookstore. There were cameras everywhere. From a distance, the event could have been mistaken for a pep rally with all that school spirit. But as I got closer, I noticed other details that would be out of place at a celebration. Students carried flowers or candles. Some wore purple and teal ribbons pinned to their chests. And everyone was silent. The crowd stared at the photograph of a smiling young woman. She had been killed by a former partner on her way home from class a few days prior. Everyone was gathered for the vigil of her murder. The vigil lasted about an hour. The president of Western University spoke, as did a handful of other figureheads from the school, all from the athletics department, since the victim had been a student athlete. 2 pastors led prayers. One cheered on the football team as he encouraged students to get back to normal as quickly as possible, insisting that supporting the school was how to keep the victim's legacy alive. And as requested, things did go back to normal. After a single day off for students and staff to mourn, the activities on campus resumed. Even the victim's teammates went back to their regular practice schedule. The only visible reminder of the vigil, or for that matter, the murder itself, were the faces of the victim's mourning parents, printed on the front page of local newspapers. Alongside them was Western University's statement about how the violence was senseless and impossible to understand. 6 months later, a woman was raped outside the campus library. This, too, attracted media attention. Op-eds filled the local newspaper, wondering how it could be possible that there was a rape and a murder at the same campus in a single year. The community was angry, but even more so, they seemed surprised. Over and over again, they wrote that 2 victims were surely too many. At the time, I had spent 9 months interviewing students about their experiences with sexual violence at Western University. As my research team pored over these news stories, one of my research assistants shook her head. After the Me Too movement and in the midst of a heated national debate over Title IX, she wondered, how could they possibly not know that there are hundreds of rapes on this campus every year, and that the university doesn't do anything most of the time? This book is the story of the campus violence that doesn't make headlines. While it may feel like sexual assault has dominated the news cycle for over a decade, the reality is that reporters have barely scratched the surface of what goes on in the black box of Title IX. This is intentional. Universities want us to believe that we know the worst of what happens behind their closed doors, that when there isn't a scandal, it's because there's nothing newsworthy to share. Instead of volunteering information, they hide it. When they get caught, they pull from the same playbook, a combination of insisting this one case was a mistake, that they take sexual assault very seriously, and pointing to another school to insist it's worse elsewhere. That it's best we all get back to normal, that we should never look too closely. If we do look a little closer, there are signs that sexual violence isn't an occasional tragedy, but an infuriatingly ordinary and predictable part of the American college experience. We have known for decades that 1 in 5 women will be sexually assaulted before graduation. And that number hasn't changed since researchers started conducting studies on campus sexual assault 60 years ago. More recently, we have come to recognize that the problem isn't limited to cisgender women, but that transgender, non-binary, and queer students of all genders are facing violence at similar or even higher rates. We also know that the perpetrators are usually other members of the campus community, be they fellow students or professors, and almost always cisgender men, many of whom universities place on a pedestal as they captain a winning football team, rub elbows with